loss against Penn in the Ivy Madness semifinals, and this is a Georgetown team that's been up and down all season long. They finished in a tie for 4th against Villanova, a squad that handed them a lopsided loss of their own, and then they got a little revenge in the Big East tournament. Carmen Porter-Real is our referee, Christy Mosley, Anthony Redd in the 2 umpires. Harvard wins the tap, and we are underway in the Women's National Invitation Tournament. Round 2 for the Crimson here on its home floor. They hosted for the first time on Friday against Drexel and never trailed in that contest. Kathy Delaney-Smith was fired up as she left the floor. Inside slip, high off the back iron. Jeannie Boehm a little bit strong in the lane, and you get a taste right away, Matt, of what Harvard's going to try to do, pound it inside with those tall forwards like Boehm at 6'3".
There's good recognition as well by Benson. She was double teamed on the perimeter. She's going to be shadowed all afternoon, but here aggressively going to the hoop.
Nikola Kovačíková missed the long triple. Now a breakout going the other way. Deanna White high off the glass. Big follow. Keeps it alive for the Hoyas. And the first bucket belongs to Deanna White, now north of 2,000 points. And she is in rarefied air. Sugar Rogers, the WNBA alum and former Georgetown Hoya, the only other Georgetown player to reach that plateau on the women's side. Second possession here for Harvard off the rebound. Maybe a couple steps in the lane there by Boehm. Raster, the senior, all Ivy second team selection, slips it out for a wing 3. Benson missed it.
Harvard's had some good looks their first couple times down the floor, just nothing dropping right yet. That was a good pass up top by Raster. Again, Benson had time to step into that 3, so right now shots just not falling here in the early going for the Crimson.
Boys may have dodged a bullet there. Too strong again on the 3. A lot of outside shooting in this game so far. It's a Georgetown squad that preaches a lot of defense, creating shots on the other end. They don't want to score in transition. They're really a team that wants to set up shop, organize the offense, and James Howard now in his 2nd season back in the women's NIT. Head coaching at Division I for the first time. He's made a lot of stops along the way. Previously served as associate head coach for this Hoyas team. Harvard still looking for that first bucket. Slow start here on Sunday afternoon. Hoyas wanted a walk. Nani Redford's got it topside, steps in, pulls the trigger, no. There is a lid on this end for Harvard so far. 0 for 4 from the floor. Hoyas have just 1 make, and they are now 1 for 5. Dorothy Adamako is going to be a key factor inside, just hung in the air at 6'1". Tipped pass, the turn. Still no move on this end.
The iron unkind right now for the Crimson. Again, a couple good looks down low to Boehm, but she has not been able to finish thus far.
Slip pass to the low block. We've got a tie-up and a jump ball. Gives it right back to the Hoyas. There is Kathy Delaney-Smith making her 15th postseason appearance. 7th time in the women's NIT over the last 8 years. There was some unfinished business after Ivy Madness. She wants to send this senior class out, especially Madeline Raster, the right way, but Georgetown has jumped out to the 4-0 lead here off the jumper by Kovačíková. Tough name to say for the Slovakian. She has been very good this year. Tallied 14 points and 5 boards in that Friday victory against Sacred Heart. Hanger in the air, and it's a block for the Hoyas. Off to the races. White, too strong, but she'll go to the line.
Saw some of that good interior defense from Georgetown back on the other side of things. As a team, they block over 7 shots, over 5 shots per game. And here you see White going the other way in transition. So that defense really collapsing right now. And we talked about in the pregame, Harvard wants to play an inside out, but everything right now collapsing around the rim, making life tough for the Crimson at the cup.
White's pure on the first team all Big East selection. Crafty player that can steal the ball as well. High basketball IQ according to her head coach, and she knows how to get to the line, where she has shot nearly 77% this year. So she can make the Crimson pay for mistakes like that. 6-0 the score, a little less than 7 minutes remaining here in the first quarter. I'm Kevin Gale, joined by Matt Corsetti. Georgetown fired up so far. Air ball from Raster deflected underneath, and it's going back to the Hoyas. Crimson have been out of sorts offensively, Matt.
Corey is very aggressive defensively, getting out on the ball on the perimeter, not really giving Benson any room to operate with. And again, we've seen them double teaming down low when it's gone to Bame. Harvard dropping back here into 2-3.
Georgetown keyed in on stopping that low block option and then stepping out to protect against 2 or even 3 shooters for Harvard that can really dial it up from the long range. Nani Redford stop and start. Bame turns through. Nice stutter step. Off the back iron again. Tries to get the follow, and we have a push down low as Jaden Bush got knocked over.
Bush active on the board so far here for Harvard. Before the game, Coach Howard talking about limiting to 1 opportunity. Harvard's had a couple of second chance opportunities in this game so far, but again, still not able to convert. Looking for their first points with just over 6 minutes remaining here in the first quarter.
2 offensive rebounds so far for Harvard, and as you mentioned, they're the best shooting team and scoring team in this league, and finally Raster rattles one in.
Good action off the inbounds, using a pick there by Raster, getting some airspace, stepped right into the jumper, no hesitation, despite the shooting struggles. That's what you want to see if you're Coach Delaney Smith. Just keep doing the things that you're doing, have the confidence to know those shots are eventually going to start to fall.
Senior from South Bend hasn't been healthy all year long, pushing her career as far as she can go. This team had a lot of fun here on Friday, but it's lost out of bounds by Nani Redford with her feet slipping and sliding along that Crimson logo.
Taking a little extra bounce off the rim as well, so just mistiming the jump, trying to save it. First substitution of the game as Sydney Skinner will check in. Redford grabs the seat on the bench.
Skinner has the heart of a lion, according to her head coach. One of the best 6th players in Kathy Delaney Smith's career. She said that role's not for everybody, especially in the modern age. A lot of players want to be in that starting 5, and they may hang their head if they get sent to the bench, but Skinner is a microwave. She can heat it up quick, and after she gets a couple moments to watch the game, feel the flow, that's when she's at her best. She's wandering along the baseline here, now tucks herself into the corner. Benson with 10 to shoot. Picked up quickly by White. Raster looking for the dribble drive, puts it in her pocket, left it short off the rim, follow with the left hand and in. Jeannie Bain with some good touch. The former McDonald's All-American has her first points of the game.
Last 2 trips down the floor for Harvard. What have they got? Second chance opportunities, and they've converted and got themselves right back in this ball game, down by just 2. 1 possession basketball game now.
Neither team shooting better than 22% from the floor. There's a block, or at least an interrupted shot by Jeannie Bain. Skinner trying to get out and run. Bush cranks it out. Raster through the lane, extra pass. Skinner's trapped low, doubled. Inside out go the Crimson. Hook shot good. Jeannie Bain back-to-back buckets, and this game is tied at 6.
We're starting to see the inside part of the offense right here. Aside from the jumper by Raster, the last 2 buckets for Harvard have come right at the edge of the cup, working the ball down low to Bame. Now that they've got the inside going, we'll see if Harvard can start to get the outside going here over the final 4 minutes of this first quarter.
This is a tall Harvard team, and just when you think they're going to pound that ball inside the paint, players like Bame can step out and drain a jumper. Maybe not as pretty, though, as Kovačíková. Boy, has had some international flair this year with a pair of national team products. Anita Kaleva, Zagreb, Croatian native, also in the starting 5 today. So the pass down low, and it's intercepted. Mako brings it up the floor. The Slovakian will slow it down. 3 minutes and change remaining here in the first quarter. Both teams 0 for 3 from 3, and that's over with. The freshman center has found her touch here in the postseason. Kovačíková now leading with 7 points, best on the floor.
No hesitation in that jumper from the top of the key, knocking down the triple. Good ball movement. Stepped confidently into that shot to give her team a 5-point cushion.
So often in the women's NIT, it's all about who wants it more, who's more excited to keep this season going. And you wondered after Georgetown had 11 days off between the Big East tournament exit when they went 1-1 into that offering to join the women's NIT, how motivated would James Howard's team be? So far, so good. They've got the 3-point lead on the road, although we just saw Jaden Bush cash in for the first time. Georgetown overloading that left side of the floor. Splash. Nikola Kovačíková. She's got 10 of the 14 points for Georgetown. Harvard has got to find an answer against the rookie. Hanging in the air, Bush follows her own miss. Second chance points? No, short off the front rim. Raster applying pressure at center court. A lot of up and down action. And the Hoyas walked with the basketball. Timeout on the floor with 1:57 to go here in the first. Georgetown leads by 6 in the second round of the women's NIT.
I built this company for myself because I wanted a high quality, elegant timepiece at a fair price with just my alma mater's logo on it. All of our components come from Switzerland. We have an open back case so you can see the movement. We only use Sellita movements, just like the big boys. And we have them assembled right in La Chaux de Fonds, in the watch capital of the world. You don't need a watch to tell time anymore, but this is a subtle reminder of some of the best days of your life.
This President's Day, there's big news at Nissan now. No brand received more J.D. Power Initial Quality Awards for cars and trucks than Nissan. So we're thanking you with big savings on our lineup, including Ultimo with intelligent all-wheel drive.
For a limited time, get a low $199 per month lease on the 2019 Nissan Altima or the 2019 Nissan Rogue. Get to Nissan, proud sponsor of Harvard Athletics.
Go, Princeton!
The first line of my application here said, for as long as I can remember, I've wanted to be an actor. It was asking kind of who you were, and that was really who I was, and I wanted them to know who I was, and whether they accepted me or not, I wanted them to know who they were going to let in or not. Having grown up here, I think I had one way of looking at Harvard and a kind of a towny view of the school. And suddenly walking through as a prospective student, I just started to really take in how impressive it was. I assumed, if I could get into an Ivy League school, that touched every base for me. And then I got into Harvard. And it's just a very tough place to turn down. This great teacher named Anthony Kubiak, I took a number of his classes, and this was the final one that I took, and it was the playwriting class. I handed in the first act of a 3-act movie, what eventually became Good Will Hunting. I apologized to him when I handed him this 40-some-odd page document. I just said, I don't think I did what you wanted. I was supposed to write a 1-act play, and this is clearly the first act of a 3-act movie. And he was unbelievably encouraging. He gave me a flat A in the class, which was a big deal. He wrote extensively in the margins, or on a cover page that he put on it to please keep up with this. That it was worthy, that it was good, that it wasn't anything close to.
5 points off turnovers so far for the Georgetown Hoyas, who have drained 3 buckets in a row to take a 14-8 lead here at Harvard. Take a look at the WNIT records side by side. Harvard has been to the NCAA tournament and the WNIT more than any other Ivy League program, while Georgetown is still trying to find some identity in this tournament. They are unable to host during the next 2 rounds of the women's NIT because Georgetown is hosting a men's regional that will feature Duke, potentially, I shouldn't put the cart ahead of the horse, but Duke and Michigan State. So a lot on the plate for Georgetown, and they may have to travel on the road next round no matter who is the opponent from that Providence Penn game. Get a foul inside as Spain hit the floor.
Richie and Brianna Mayfield getting tangled up underneath the basket. Again, Harvard trying to find a way to get Benzin free. You'll see the two fighting for position in the block right there. So looking to try and get an entry where the Crimson down to Bame down low.
Mayfield called for her first. Saw a lot of post touches in the opening segment by Jeannie Bame. She's 2 of 6 from the floor. Now a 3-ball up and good. Perfect response off the bench by Rachel Levy. She's another one of those bigs who can sneak up on you with the 3-ball.
Penetration by Benzin. Have to respect the ability of her to be able to finish. Defense collapsing. She's able to knock it inside, and we're going to have the second personal foul coming here on Mayfield. just clearing things out at that free throw line at the high post. So she's in the game for the first time, and 2 quick personals on her. You'll see the moving action on the screen right there. Never gets set, just that slight little nudge right there. She can't believe the call, but again, that's 2 personals, and she's just off the bench. So some foul trouble inside right now for the Hoyas.
Jaden Howard's going to leave her out there. Sophomore center stands 6'5". The Landover, Maryland native needed to counteract that big size now of Levy and Boehm on the floor together. So the tenor of this game has changed. It's going to be one in the paint. Boehm on the turn, scoop shot, no good. Followed by Levy, and she gets fouled. Nope, they're going to call it offensive against Harvard.
I think it was Levy they had coming over the back. We'll get a second peek at it just a second, but again, it didn't look like Levy had position. She was going in for the rebound right there with the Georgetown player underneath the rim, so foul there, and we'll come back the other way inside a minute to go here first quarter.
Foul's going to go against Skinner. That's her first off the bench. Now Raster called for the foul on this end. All of a sudden the whistles getting involved here late in the first quarter after some up and down action early on. Talked about the Hoyas' approach to try and limit those second chance points for Harvard. They have failed so far. 5 offensive rebounds for the Crimson. Problem is, Harvard can't make its shots from the floor, shooting just 29%. What a drive and score by Deanna White, the Baltimore native. She is not ready to see her career come to an end. She has helped carry these Hoyas in the women's NIT. And throughout her career, a former Defensive Player of the Year in this conference as well. She has been so special to James Howard, who has watched her development first as an assistant, now as the head coach. Skinner trying to clear some space with the arm. Redford steps in. Up against the trees, has to defer to Benson. Clock down to 1, someone's got to shoot, it's Boehm. And it's short off the front iron again. And a wild first period comes to an end as Georgetown maintains the lead, up 5 here in Cambridge. We've got a trip to the round of 16 up for grabs today. You're watching the Women's NIT on ESPN.
It sounds like a sports car. Feels like a sports car. Drives like a sports car. And as made evident by the crest, it is a sports car. The Porsche Macan. For those who believe every car should be a sports car.
I practice usually from 2 to 6, and that's when a lot of events happen on campus. So I'm unable to attend most of those events unless I schedule time with my coach. They encourage you to come right from practice. They're accommodating to your needs. And so I've actually been able to attend this event that's happening right now. And I also went to a networking event right after practice a week ago.
At Harvard, we reach out to our opponents with respect. We are modest champions, and we accept defeat with dignity. When a teammate falters, we reach out and pick each other up. Our student athletes reach out to members of our community. At Harvard, we reach towards our goals with diligence and passion.
Georgetown and Harvard getting set for the second quarter here in round 2 of the women's NIT. You take a look back at that record-breaking win on Friday night against Sacred Heart. Georgetown has found a way to turn the offense on at home. If you look at the last 2 games they have played, St. John's in the home finale and Sacred Heart in the women's NIT. First 2 times this year they've been north of 80 points, and when you have a team that can score with 11 different players, you see the depth that the Hoyas can send out, especially at a team like the Crimson who like to spread that basketball and scoring around themselves.
Not a team that usually lights it up during the course of the regular season. They were 9th out of the 10-team Big East in terms of points per game, averaging just a shade over 62, but so far the offense has been effective here this afternoon, but more importantly their defense, holding Harvard at just 28% shooting there in the first.
Pick and pop, it's a thing of beauty for Sydney Skinner. Just the second 3 of the game for Harvard. A player to watch, Katie Benson attempted just 1 3-ball in the first quarter. She's been more of a distributor than a taker so far. Here's White, best player on the floor, and she throws it up and in.
Coach Howard before the game just saying an electric first step, and we've seen it a couple times here. Just has that little hesitation with the dribble, sees the separation, and is able to explode to the basket. Just so dangerous, the ball in her hands.
And when the game's on the line, he wants to go to White. Ever since her high school career, she has been a big shot taker. Redford chased down another offensive board for the Crimson. That's what they've done best. The size in this lineup. Can they make the outside shots? Benson way too strong. Surprising miss. The best 3-point shooter, not just in Harvard history, but across this league all season.
Maybe a little bit rushed on that one, had some space, but really trying to get the shot off quickly. They're running 2 defenders at her every time she comes off the pick and has the basketball up top. And here we see the good hands from White.
Court turnover forced by the Hoyas. And as Tom Izzo says, it's a turnover for touchdown. Deanna White makes it 20-14. It's sort of like a football score.
Somebody missed an extra point in there, I think.
First time Georgetown and Harvard have ever met in women's basketball. Hard to believe. These 2 programs haven't collided, at the very least, in all these WNIT postseason appearances in recent years where teams are really joined together by regional connections. Benson lost it and may have gotten bailed out on the foul. A reach by White outside the arc.
White just slightly out of position right there. Body bump as Benson was trying to go by. Good read as the shot clock was winding down. Only 4 seconds remain, but now a fresh 30 goes up on the clock here for the Crimson. Bain will grab a seat on the bench, and Jaden Bush will check herself back in the basketball game.
Jaden Bush has been immense this year, according to her head coach. Maybe one of the standout players, especially in the non-conference season. Harvard playing for some hardware in the postseason, but you get the feeling, Matt, with a lot of this young talent, the future is really bright for Kathy Delaney-Smith's program, and Rachel Levy is yet another example. The sophomores going to the line.
Good pick and roll right here. Again, it seems like Georgetown is determined to double the basketball every time it's coming off picks, and just a good read down low. And chance for some free throws coming here for Levy, who you mentioned just a sophomore. Benson just a junior. Bush just a sophomore as well. Of course, Redford and Skinner, who see time for this team. Both seniors on this squad, but a lot of talent for underclassmen. The future certainly looking bright here for the Crimson.
Levy, who missed extended time with a knee injury during her freshman year. Essentially moves from guard to inside, stretch 4 or 5 at times. Boy, when you can handle, shoot the way she does at 6'2", you can be a real asset. Up and down women's college basketball. Benson's gonna get a break here. Hanging her head a bit. She really fed off the crowd on Friday. It's been spring break here at Harvard, but the women's rugby team was in the house to show some support, and when Benson heats up, she can look a lot like Deanna White, who has taken over here in the second quarter. She's now got 12. Long rebound kicked ahead by Georgetown. No whistle. Mako couldn't pick it up. Harvard trying to get numbers up the floor. Vachikova, leading scorer in the first quarter, backpedaled well. Georgetown moves beautifully on defense, and we get a foul away from the ball here.
Going to be on Mayfield, I believe, again down low, fighting for post position. And if that's on her, it's going to be personal foul number 3, as we'll get another peek Just the hand coming around. You see that free hand coming around the back of the posting up Levy. So Mayfield, again, the big center off the bench, is going to have to grab a seat here with 3 personal fouls in the first half.
No fouls committed here by Harvard in the second. They go straight to the 2-shot bonus after 5 fouls in each quarter. White wiggles through and draws another shooting foul. How is Harvard going to pick up the senior guard?
They've got to find a way to get back in transition. Right now, every time she's got the basketball in her hands, it's amazing because it looks like she's just kind of gliding down the floor with the basketball. Then the snap of about a snap, it's almost like she hits 5th gear and is able just to drive right through the teeth of the defense. Has herself at the free throw line where she knocks down the first and has already knocked down a pair earlier today. So Deanna White, again, the senior, Coach out before the game saying that she does not want her career for the Hoyas to end, and she's doing everything she can right now helping to stake her team to a 9-point lead.
She's one of 20 student athletes nationally named to the Ann Myers Drysdale Award watch list. That honors the top shooting guard in the country. Harvard needs to make some shots here. Quick trigger by Skinner. The elbow of the rim. Georgetown's out in transition again. Here's Smith, wide open spaces. Timeout for Kathy Delaney. Smith trying to stay positive as she claps it up here. The Crimson have gone 3+ minutes without a score, and Georgetown has erupted to an 11-point lead.
Are going back to the NCAA tournament.
We are trying to help students develop skills that they can take into the workplace and take into the world.
Big opportunity here.
To have a chance to play in the Ivy League tournament.
And we are underway.
There's a shot and a goal.
Works his way in, fires a shot and scores! Off the hip of the goal.
Rebound, another save. Picks it up, he dives and he scores through the leg. Shot and a score. We are tied up.
With their backs against the wall. Big rip and a score.
Number 1 in the country.
Ivy League championship.
First place in the Ivy League with a decisive victory.
Georgetown Hoyas are a speedy squad that can get out in transition. Already scored 9 points off turnovers in this game. And Matt, we were talking with James Howard before this game. He said very simply, if the athletic trainer says you're healthy enough to play, you better get down and play some tenacious defense on my team.
And we've seen that happen so far. They're limiting Harvard 6 of 24 from the field thus far in this game, getting the rebounding edge as well. So Georgetown just getting down and dirty on the defensive end, and it staked them at least 11-point lead.
Talk about the mixed bag of results for Georgetown this year. They have dominated this game so far, but perhaps a little opening now for the Crimson. They snap a 3.5-minute scoreless streak.
Excellent work by Jaden Bush in the post right there. Just continue to fight for the position. Great entry pass, leading her to the basket in stride, able to gather, go up in one motion, chance to finish at the rim and make it 3 the old-fashioned way.
Pretty helper by Nani Redford. Jaden Bush, part of a quadruple-headed monster on Friday. Benson, Raster, Skinner, and Bush all put up double digits against Drexel. It's going to count as a 3 on the other end. Georgetown has had an answer each and every trip down the floor. Adamako, been automatic so far. 28-17 the score, a little more than 5 minutes left in the first half. Nice lob inside to Levy.
One of the best ways to alleviate any shooting issues you might have, get the ball down low, get buckets at the rim, and again, a good look into Levy. Last 2 entry passes have been things of beauty, putting it only where the post player is able to catch them, away from the defense, leading them towards the basket for easy shots.
Did you say alleviate?
I might have.
I like it. Harvard trying to beat the Hoyas at their own game. Out on the fast break, the hezzy by Raster. Just got stuck on the front rim. No luck for the Crimson at that basket throughout the first half. White, splash. You can't leave her open like that on the wing. Another transition score for Georgetown, shooting better than 50% from 3, and it's 31-19.
17 points right now for White, as they're going to say that Benson stepped on the end line on her way trying to fire that pass back up. So 17 points now for White, just 19 right now for the Crimson as the shooting struggles continue. You see the drive right here, just losing her footing on the way in is Benson. Tries to fire the pass and save possession of the basketball, but steps on the end line before she can get it out.
Heard for years in the Big East, no blood, no foul. This is a group that really embodies that attitude. And how did White slip free again? Just outside the low block. She is filling it up here in Massachusetts. Impressive stuff for the senior guard. Levy through the contact, drew the block. Hoyas erupted off the bench.
Smith is going to be inside that restricted area. Has position.
Easy call.
Easy. Still kind of sliding over a little bit. Got the body in front, but wasn't ever really setting to get inside that restricted area. That's going to be a charge 10 times out of 10.
Smith called for her first. Returning after a Big East tournament injury. Georgetown beat Villanova, exacted some revenge after a 91-43 road loss back in February. And they were on the wrong side of a 75-62 decision against Marquette. Harvard was really flabbergasted after a loss to Penn in the semifinals of Ivy Madness in New Haven, Connecticut, 91-62. And we were talking before the game about how good the Crimson looked against Penn right here on this floor. A double overtime victory back in February, and there might be an opportunity for revenge if Penn can get through Providence today. And Harvard manages a comeback against Georgetown. They're getting set for the Friars and Quakers coming up in just about 25 minutes. That game played down in Rhode Island. Kovačikova lost the handle. Bush punched it away. They threw 3 bodies at White in the coffin corner. Managed to worm her way out. Shot clock down to 10 here. Harvard needs a good defensive stand. Georgetown is 6 of its last 9 from the floor. 3-ball topside. Mako may have been asking for a little too much that time, and it rolls out of bounds.
Kovačikova back into the basketball game, really carried the Hoyas offensively there in quarter number 1. It's been White here in quarter number 2, and you mentioned last position down the floor. Harvard really swarming White in the corner, trying to take away the offensive options for her. So if that's what's going to happen, Kovačikova might have to step back up here in quarter number 2 to keep the offense rolling for Georgetown.
Mackenzie Barta in the mix now. Junior guard from Maple Grove, Minnesota. Former Minnesota Miss Basketball nominee. And the South Bend shooter drains a 3 with a hand in her face. Hello, Madeline Raster. She has overcome so much this year, Matt. suffered a serious concussion in that hometown matchup against #1 Notre Dame. And a sprained ankle, had to battle her way back. Kathy Delaney-Smith said, we'll take her at 60, 70%. She just makes players around her better. She's such a positive influence, even when she was sitting on the bench just watching from the sideline. Kovačikova is a really good influence when she's got the ball in her hand. Outstanding shooting performance so far. She is 5 of 8 from the floor. White's got 19. Kovačikova, she's got 12. And look at White. Hit the accelerator, slips it for the extra pass, wave it off. Offensive foul. Good take inside, but we were just talking about these injury concerns for Raster, and she took the worst of this one. Ooh, just fell flat on her backside.
Flat on her backside, they get landed on top of there. Again, obviously not intentional going on her way through, but you talked about just what Raster means to this team. You see with all the health concerns she had, no hesitation getting her body into harm's way, trying to force the turnover right there. Still down and being tended to right now. Again, took a tough spill and then got stepped on top of after the fact, but that's a senior right there showing that she doesn't want this to be her last game that she's going to be wearing a crimson uniform for. Putting her body in harm's way and ultimately produces a turnover. She's got to go off the floor though and get checked out.
She started all 29 games last year for the Crimson. They went undefeated on this floor at Levites. Keep an eye on Raster at the end of that bench, getting some attention from the athletic training staff. This is her opportunity to take a final bow in Cambridge. It's an interesting situation because after the loss to Penn in Ivy Madness, Kathy Delaney-Smith had to go into the locker room. She wasn't quite sure what she should say to her team because there may have been a road WNIT game, there may have been hosting duties for the first time, and she simply told her team, be ready. You may have to turn around and play again. And it was a quicker turnaround for Harvard, maybe to their advantage. Georgetown had to play a Big East tournament. It was a week before the men's tournament at Madison Square Garden, while Harvard played in sync during the men's tournament in New Haven. Shots continue to fall for the Hoyers. Kaleva on point this time. 37-24 the score, creeping into the last 90 seconds of the first half. Skinner trying to duck under that screen. Shot clock winding down. Barta's got a heave. Low angle shot. Never had a chance. Crimson have looked sped up over and over again on offense, and that's a credit to what the Hoyas are doing.
Out aggressively, challenging all the ball screens, challenging the ball on the perimeter, not allowing Harvard to get comfortable. A lot of that interior offense we saw early on hasn't really been there. Again, challenging the ball on the perimeter and then collapsing when it's gone down low. They've just not allowed this Crimson squad to get in rhythm offensively.
Another 2.5-minute scoring drought for Harvard. This crossover by Skinner off the Kovačikova miss. A lot of depth being used here early on. Tess Sussman is checked in. The reversal is good. Scoop shot beauty from Jeannie Bain.
Bain getting things rolling inside, but she's so far 6 points, just 3 of 10 from the field, though perhaps most surprising, Benson has only taken 2 shots here so far in the entire first half.
Delaney-Smith told me earlier this year, we don't need to live and die with Benson, and that mantra may be put to the test here. A turnover in the backcourt by Skinner. And who's this foul going against? It's on Skinner.
Smith just staying down at that end of the floor, coming up with the loose ball. Her initial layup did not go, got a rebound of her own miss. Just took a funny bounce, goes up for shot number 1, nothing there, and then the arm underneath in between. She got a lot of basketball, but that arm coming up in between the arms of Morgan Smith right there is the reason for the foul. They're going to say it happened on the floor, though, so no shots coming here for Georgetown.
Second turnover by Skinner, who's had some issues with that so far this year. Now Benson called for the foul. 13 foul, still 1 to give for the Crimson. 15.2 remaining on the clock. It starts again. Shot clock is off. Hoyas can hold for 1 more. Benson out top. Kovačikova, why not? In and out. Last chance for the Crimson. Sussman from way past half court, and the first half comes to an end. Dominant shooting and points in transition for Georgetown, opening up an 11-point lead as we head to halftime here at Harvard. Kathy Delaney-Smith arguing her case. She'll have to make the adjustments during the intermission if she wants to keep this season going for the Crimson. Stay with us. We'll be back with the conclusion of this second round women's NIT game.
Saunders now watched by Cotton.
All by himself.
Saunders spinning. Jumper. Steve puts Harvard on top with 6 seconds. Here's Duran with 3.5. Duran drives. Won't go. Tick no good. It's Harvard.
Unbelievable ending.
It's Harvard. Look at the seat at the Palestra.
Perfect 4 for 4 during your time at Harvard, going to the NCAA championship tournament. Put that into words.
I mean, you can't. This is what you dream about. When I came to Harvard and when all these guys came and signed that letter, this is what they had in mind. And it's just been a blessing to be able to come out here and actually achieve this level of success.
This is not a Cinderella bunch. These guys don't have a glass slipper.
You know, there are a lot of choices for watches out there today. I built this company for myself because I wanted a high quality, elegant timepiece at a fair price with just my alma mater's logo on it. All of our components come from Switzerland. We have an open back case so you can see the movement. We only use Sellita movements, just like the big boys. And we have them assembled right in La Chaux de Fonds, in the watch capital of the world. You don't need a watch to tell time anymore, but this is a subtle reminder of some of the best days of your life.
You know, all 4 years, it's always been a goal to get that bye, you know, mostly for home ice, but as well as just having guys get the opportunity to get back in the lineup, get healthy, you know, get a little rest, get caught up with their schoolwork, so it's always great.
There's a great kind of comfort that you have playing at home, and, you know, the stats show that we've been good here, and I think that having that under our belt and knowing that we've had the success we've had here is something that's going to give us an extra bit of confidence going into this weekend, and I think that having that comfort and playing a confident game is something that we definitely have to bring, not only to this series, but if we want to have a run going forward.
It's a proud program. You know, Dartmouth has a lot of really good players, and they're never going to quit. They're never just going to come out and give you the game, just like any other team in our league, in the Ivy League. So we got to make sure that we're taking care of what we can do and learning from them in video and learning from our past 2 games. You know, I think learning from those instances and trying to, you know, make the best of, you know, making sure that, yeah, you know, we're familiar with this team, but you can't let that hurt you. You know, you can't come out complacent and think that, you know, past results are gonna dictate how you play. So, you know, I think that just focusing on our game is the number one thing.
They come hard, and they're a solid team, and they've got 4 lines that'll keep coming, and no matter what their previous games have been like, no matter what they've been doing, they always play us their best game. And, you know, we like that too. We want to play somebody's best. We want to, you know, when we play, we want to be at our best level playing someone else's best level. And I think that we've seen enough of them that we understand what they do and, you know, how we can beat that. And I think we're just all pretty excited to be at home this weekend after a bye week, and we're all kind of getting ready to play.
Honestly, I don't think that I need to do too much motivating. I think everybody in our team has that drive, and everybody wants to finish this year off with a good playoff run, but especially for me, someone who's seen winning the ECAC tournament and been to the Frozen Four, you know, you realize how hard it is, so I think that's something that'll push you to drive even harder during those games when you got the opportunity to get one step further in the playoffs.
It's crucial for us to get a good start, and like game by game, but more importantly, Friday's very important for us in many ways, getting a lead in the series, having a chance to win both games in a row for pairwise, but just in general, like, we got to be desperate. Like, this is playoff hockey, and everyone in the room's got to know that if we lose one game, like, our season's either over or we have a chance to be out.
You know, in past teams, we've had a lot of success in this first round, and to be able to duplicate that, I think as a senior is even more special. You know, because it's your last time. There's a little bit more desperation, but you know, at the same time, you got to learn from those past years and mistakes that you made, and try and continue to to shape the season as to how you want it to end out. So, you know, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun, but you know, we're looking to make an impact and make our own statement as a senior class, without a doubt.
Hey guys, Sydney Sorkin, sophomore from Chicago here. About to hit the ice for practice, and we're fired up to be back from break. We're facing some pretty big opponents, Princeton and Quinnipiac, and enjoy episode 9.
I'm mic'd up. You want to say something? Hey!
Hey!
You! Hey! Middle! Shoot! Ski! Oh, here she goes. Number 2. Woo! Bye. I feel like I have the pressure to say something funny. How many chickens cross the road?
How many?
I don't know, because I just made that up just now. They had to move him up to 4 to score too much.
What's up, Liney's?
One thing to remember, Sid Sorkin, first game on forward. How do you feel about it?
A little nervous, but I'm just trying to follow in the footsteps of my role model, Caitlin C., who also played forward and who's naturally a D.
What is one goal for the Princeton game?
To score a goal.
Okay. How do you feel about your line mates? Who are you playing with? Kate?
It's like playing with Jonathan Tays and Nathan McKinnon. It's pretty easy out there because they just sauce me the puck and it's easy top cheese.
Okay, what do you think about our videographer?
I think he's doing a really good job. All he has to do is hold a camera though. I think it's pretty easy, huh?
All right, cut.
Yeah!
I'll go take Nat now.
So spot a puck, then you're gonna pass to the D for a D shot.
Ooh, nice, okay. Forehand to forehand, Mac. Good screen. If you don't have that cross-ice pass there to Della, you don't have to try to force it. Just keep going back with Mac. If you have that open line, if Caitlin evacuates, remember you can just walk up that wall too. You know? Doms. I love that idea. Atta girl. Ooh, nice save.
She almost did it again.
And Mac beat her. Oh! That was sick. Okay, so in that chaos, right, where it started, it kicked back over here and was really quick, right? If you notice that they're coming over to try to play that puck right away, what does that mean if more people over here? Absolutely. So if Della kicks it to you quick, that's a great time to kick it to Caitlin right away, because then they're all going to be coming from that side, and she's going to be able to walk it right down Broadway. Oh, that was such a coachism. Ooh, backhand Tui. I go down now. Luna, that was sick.
There are a lot of events early in the year that definitely conflict with our practice schedules, and having something like this that's geared towards athletes and towards our practice times is so helpful. And just the fact that it's only for athletes is a lot more intimate, and it's a lot easier to have conversations with the different groups that are here. This has been really easy, really painless, and honestly, I've gotten so much information from it.
Was Harvard turning into some kind of sports power or what? The basketball team is in the tournament, and today a national championship on the ski slopes. Sophomore Rebecca Nadler won the women's giant slalom out in Montana. Harvard's had a ski team since the early 1900s, but this is their first title ever.
It feels great, and I mean, I've been working really hard all season to come here and be able to punch one in like this. It feels great. It feels great for me, but also just representing the Crimson in general, I'm really proud to be a part of that team.
Set point, match point for the Crimson. Italiano, Nussbaum, Italiano out of the back, blocked, kept alive, it falls in! And for the first time in school history, the Harvard Crimson are going to the NCAA tournament.
They play Harvard, the Ivy League champion, making its first NCAA volleyball tournament appearance in program history.
At Harvard, we reach out to our opponents with respect. We are modest champions, and we accept defeat with dignity. When a teammate falters, we reach out and pick each other up. Our student athletes reach out to members of our community. At Harvard, we reach towards our goals with diligence and passion.
Was Harvard turning into some kind of sports power or what? The basketball team is in the tournament, and today a national championship on the ski slopes. Sophomore Rebecca Nadler won the women's giant slalom out in Montana. Harvard's had a ski team since the early 1900s, but this is their first title ever.
It feels great, and I mean, I've been working really hard all season to come here and be able to punch one in like this. Feels great. It feels great for me, but also just representing the Crimson in general. I'm really proud to be a part of that team.
At Harvard, we reach out to our opponents with respect. We are modest champions, and we accept defeat with dignity. When a teammate falters, we reach out and pick each other up. Our student athletes reach out to members of our community. At Harvard, we reach towards our goals with diligence and passion.
Second half set to go here in Cambridge. 37-26 lead for Georgetown, trying to move on to the round of 16 in the women's NIT. We'll welcome you back to Lavini's Pavilion alongside Matt Corsetti. I'm Kevin Gale, and the message is simple for Harvard in the second half. They have got to get Katie Benson involved. She went just 0 for 2 shooting during that opening stanza, and that's just not up to snuff for a player that's averaging nearly 14.5 per game.
No, Benson is gifted offensively, and they have to find ways to get her going. And speaking of getting things going in the first half, it was Deanna White here for Georgetown. It's all scorers in the basketball game with 19 points. She's gotten them in transition. She's gotten them setting up at the three-point line. Harvard's got to find a way to get things rolling down low as well. Jeannie Bain just 3 of 10 overall in the first half, so she's had opportunities to be able to finish at the rim, but has not found them so far. And meanwhile for Georgetown there in the first half as well, Kovachikova has had a great first half. Just 12 points for her on 5 of 10 shooting. She really carried the offense there in quarter number 1, and then quarter number 2, it was White really stepping the offensive roles. You see her finish in transition with the left hand. That's one of the things she loves to do, get up and down. This Georgetown defense has been aggressive so far. A lot of transition buckets for them in the first half, helping to stake them to this 11-point lead. So Harvard's got to find a way here in the second half to get the shooting modes to break. They shot just 32% from the field overall in half number 1 and just 3 of 10 from distance.
Deanna White, second leading scorer all time for Georgetown, leading in all the key stats. 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists so far. Impressive work by the Hoyas. trying to meet the winner of Penn and Providence. That game just about to get underway down in Rhode Island. We'll see the halftime adjustments for Kathy Delaney-Smith. Now in her 4th decade as the head coach for the Crimson, she has been a mainstay in women's NIT over the last couple years. Harvard has also competed in 6 NCAA tournaments. You can forget Kathy Delaney-Smith's team pulling off one of the greatest upsets in postseason history. Before UMBC, there was Harvard as a 16 seed taking down Stanford, #1 in that tournament bracket, on the road, in fact, at Maples Pavilion out in California. That was way back in 1998. Hard to believe the way the years have flown by, and Kathy Delaney-Smith now coaching in an endowed position here. Friends of Harvard women's basketball. It means so much to her program. She talked extensively about that endowment earlier this year. She said, you know, there were times when I looked around at other longtime coaches here at Harvard. Harry Parker, the rowing coach for 42 years. Dave Fish, tennis coach who just retired. 40 years at the helm, and she said, I'm the grandma now. I'm the senior leader on this campus. And I still have a lot left to accomplish.
So you have to try and find some magic here in the second half. You saw across the bottom of your screen right there, Harvard been trailing at halftime this year. 0-11 on the season. Also an adjustment as well. Sydney Skinner on the floor to start things here in the second half. Madeline Raster not on the floor. Does not look like she's on the bench either there for the Crimson. Took a spill, picking up a charge there in the latter stages of the first half. So the senior guard not on the floor right now for Harvard.
Could that be the last time we see Raster in a Harvard uniform? Going to take an 11-point comeback by the Crimson. Keep her career going into another week of play. Slip down low, double team by the Crimson. Last touched by the Hoyas. So a turnover off the hands. Dorothy Adamako. Deanna White, Dorothy Adamako. Both all Big East selections in each of their 4 years for Georgetown. They joined just 2 other Hoyas who won that honor. Both WNBA All-Stars, Rebecca Brunson and Sugar Rogers, an all-time leading scorer, the last name on the list, above Deanna White. She's got about a 500-point cushion, so it shows you how good Sugar was in DC. Shot clock winding down on the Crimson again. They have got to get Bain going. Tries to plant and turn, nothing there. She's now 3 for 11 from the floor. She kept showing thumbs up as she came out of the locker room. Her opposite number rolled it off the top. Halova missed a bunny inside, and we've got a foul against Harvard.
Adamako on the rebound right there. Just looked like she kind of lost that pass that was going over to Kaleva. You see right there just kind of slipping out of her hand, trying to one-hand it across, but the size there for Kaleva, able to come down with it. Doesn't get the shot to go, but the foul on the rebound. And Adamako now, a graduate student here for Georgetown. Missed all of last season with an injury. Coming back to get one more year of run on the floor for the Hoyas.
A big loss for the Hoyas last year, a case of what could have been if Adamako could have stayed healthy. She has pro aspirations following her collegiate career. James Howard, the second-year head coach, wants to help that player develop into a professional. Where and when? Well, that's the next big question.
And Adamako, no slouch offensively either. She's just shy of 1,800 points in her career. So talking about a 1-2 punch on the floor between she and White. It was White so far to really have the offense going this afternoon. We'll see if Adamako can get things rolling here in the second half.
So we've got graduate senior leadership, got well-rounded scoring. What was the missing piece this year for Georgetown as Katie Benzin gets aggressive and draws a shooting foul? James Howard told us frankly before this game, it was all about finding the right mix of 5 players. And, you know, they needed more pace and urgency. They played a really difficult non-conference schedule against a lot of NCAA tournament teams, Baylor, NC State, Buffalo as well. Outstanding squad from the MAC. Benzin pure on the first, and it's her first point of the day as Kathy Delaney-Smith looks on. Nice to see the Wellesley native get things going here.
I have to wonder if that's going to be part of the offense here in the second half, is that Benzin be aggressive and try to go to the basket. They're taking away everything from her on the perimeter thus far is Georgetown. So you have to wonder if putting the ball on the deck and trying to go at that defense is going to be what happens here in the second half for the talented junior.
Skip pass to Jones, and that was pure from just inside the arc. The Louisville transfer She's found a home in D.C., another senior. Back in the starting lineup today, her 12th start of the year. Good ball movement here by the Crimson. Bush on the turn. Tries to flip it topside. It's picked off by Adamako. Look at her get out and run. Benson blocked it. Benson hit the Jets. Up and down they go. It's turning into a track meet. Boehm turns away from a defender. Finally, Jeannie Boehm, the Winnetka, Illinois native, finds a rim and in offering. And the Harvard deficit is down to 10.
Great hustle by Benson to get that started. She flies back, takes away a surefire layup from Adamako, gets the transition opportunity, and Boehm is able to finish at the other end.
Bush watches that rebound get tapped from behind, but Kaleva couldn't secure it. Benson cuts through. Boehm, how did she get that feed? Harvard threads the needle, and James Howard calls a timeout. A mini run for the Crimson to get back within single digits. Timeout on the floor. 7:08 to go here in the third, and the Crimson have life.
These are your Harvard University top 5 plays of the week. At number 5, men's basketball. Scorching the Nets in the Ivy League championship against Yale, junior Bryce Aiken stepped back and drilled a 30-footer to give Harvard a first-half lead. Aiken broke his own tournament record, scoring 38 points, and Harvard is headed to the NIT to face Georgetown in the opening round. At number 4, men's ice hockey. On Friday night against Dartmouth, junior defenseman Adam Fox made the key play midway through the final period of Harvard's 4-1 win over the Big Green, intercepting a pass in the neutral zone and finishing off a give and go with junior Colton Kerfoot to put the Crimson in front for good. At number 3, men's volleyball. With Harvard down 18-17 in the first set, Griffin Schmidt makes a diving save to keep the point alive, allowing Matt Stavertlik to get the ball over the net. Then Stavertlik set up Eric Lee, who hammered home a kill to give the Crimson the point. The point was part of a 6-0 run for Harvard and helped them secure the first set. They would go on to sweep Sacred Heart in 3 sets to win the match. At number 2, women's water polo. Down to its last 30 seconds and trailing by 1, goaltender Sam Acker spots first-year Borden Wall out in front. Wall then flicks it to Kristen Hong, and Hong tosses it up over the goaltender to score and force overtime with the game tied at 6. The Crimson would go on to see another goal from Hong, while leaving the Broncos scoreless to ensure the victory. At number 1, men's ice hockey. On Saturday night in the ECAC Hockey quarterfinal Game 2, junior forward Nathan Krusko was the hero for Harvard, scoring the game winner at 2:06 into overtime. Jack Bonini won a puck battle along the boards and found Krusko behind the goal line. He beat the Dartmouth goaltender Adrian Clark on a wraparound to set off a celebration just outside the Harvard bench. Harvard will make its 5th consecutive trip to Lake Placid and the ECAC Hockey Championship weekend. That's it for this week's Top 5 Plays. Check out the Ivy League on ESPN for more live and on-demand content.
Defense springs offense for Harvard. Katie Benson chases down the play and got the little slip down low to Jeannie Boehm. 3 for 10 in the first half. The forward for Harvard, now 2 for her 2 in the third quarter. To get the Crimson back within reach of Georgetown. It's win or go home. One team is going to see its season come to an end today in Cambridge. The other will advance to the round of 16 in the Women's National Invitation Tournament. I'm Kevin Gale, sitting alongside Matt Corsetti, courtside. Great to have you on board. Two teams that fired it up on Friday, and it's an offensive foul. Benson drew it. 2 awesome plays on this end of the floor for Katie Benson.
Sometimes to get your offense going, you need to get your defense moving. And here is Benson running into the screen right there. Kaleva never really set and just stepped into her at the last moment. So offensive foul creates a turnover and a chance here for Harvard to try and trim this lead down even more.
She sold it with the head and shoulders as she went down. Jaden Bush and one.
Great look over there. Bain felt the pressure coming in. Just a quick little drop pass. Double team comes. Bush cuts alertly to the basket and then finishes, and a chance for the and one.
She finally cracked a little smile. She has been locked in since coming out of the locker room. Undersized front court player for Division I. You'll see her give up some rebounds down low, but what she can create offensively and the way she maximizes that smaller frame makes her a can't-miss player for Kathy Delaney-Smith. She has registered so much court time today, and Harvard needs as much size as it can throw at Georgetown as White just keeps throwing them in. She has been unguardable in this game, 21 points to lead them all.
Don't want to say she's casual with the basketball and offense because she's not. She's smart and she takes care of it, but just that shot right there just demonstrating. Just looks like she's keeping the dribble alive to keep things moving, and then all of a sudden, boom, snap, she's into a jump shot and is able to knock it down.
It's not casual, it's confidence. Bain nearly dragged the pivot. Bush chased down the rebound. Corner pocket three. Finally, Katie Benson pops her first three of the day, and here come the Crimson. Georgetown led by as many as 14. Quick shot and a foul on the rebound.
I think they're going to get Bush over the back right here. White was just able to get good inside position and force the over the back call to be made. But again, you're going to see the three right here from Benson. Good work by Bush on the inside and out to Benson, who despite the fact she's not been able to get into much of a rhythm, still no hesitation putting up the shot. Her first field goal coming inside 6 minutes remaining here in the third quarter.
Top 15 nationwide with 4.2 three-pointers per game. White nearly picked up the hoop and harm. She'll settle for 2 shots at the line. Just hung in the air as long as she could to draw that foul.
Benson coming on the closeout and just a little bit taking away the airspace, doesn't allow White to land, and it's the reason for the foul right there. And even with that, White still almost knocked down the jumper. Now for a pair of free throws. She's 4 of 4 so far from the line today. Make it 5 of 5 now.
Anna White has started every game this year for Georgetown. You can see why. Creates for herself, creates for others. Georgetown, a 5-8 team on the road this year. Much better at home. And have led throughout the game today. Harvard just trying to battle back. Barta uncorked a big pass down low and fell right back down at her feet.
And look who's coming back in the basketball game now for Harvard. Madeline Raster, who went down in the first half after drawing a charge against White, was not on the floor to start the second half, was not on the bench, but whatever issues seemed to have there in half number 1 has subsided enough for her to come back on the floor here in half number 2. We'll see if she can give her team an emotional boost.
1,000-point scorer in her career, along with Katie Benson. 20th and 21st players to accomplish that feat. Benson still got a season to go here in Cambridge. And that's great news for Kathy Delaney-Smith. There's a punch and a foul on the follow. That's going against the Hoyas.
And that's on White. If that's on White, I think that's her 4th personal.
It is, and that could be a major factor in this game. White has to come off the floor. One more foul, and she's done.
You have to imagine she's probably not going to enter this basketball game again, at least until we get to the 4th quarter. We're talking about a long stretch still, just about halfway gone here in quarter number 3. So we'll see where the offense will start to come from for the Hoyas, and also see if Harvard starts to attack now, where White would have been on the defensive end.
Redford in and out. Big opening now for Harvard to creep closer in this ball game. One of the best scorers in the Big East sitting on the bench for extended time now down the stretch. Harvard already in the bonus as well. Benson nearly into that Georgetown bench. Now goes back to the Crimson. Timeout on the floor Things opening up now for the Crimson in quarter number 3. That deficit is down to 7 in the second round of the women's NIT.
Oh my God. Stop. 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 Good assist, DeVoe. Good tip, good tip. That was terrible. Keep her going, Norris. Keep her going. Let off. Keep her going, keep her going, keep her going. Let off, 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 off. No, no, no. In the white, in the white. Good wrap. Get it into the house, into the house. Oh, that's got nothing.
Come on.
Come on.
What is that?
We need more than that.
Just push
We
it.
need a little more.
Just push it back.
Off to the snack station. Right now?
Yeah.
No, you don't need it, eh? You don't need it.
No,
No, I think they're going too much spin. You're going too many revolutions. Less revolutions, the better. Ask the British.
Palm up.
Hey, ask the British.
Ask
Less
one
revolutions, the better. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
That's gone. Let it go. See ya. Get out of here. In the red. Let's go. Hey, we're getting him in the red. Let's go. Get a slide. Get a little slide. No, it needs sweep. Sweep. Oh my God. Perfect. That boy Dorns. Rookie of the year curler. Where'd you get those skinny jeans?
Hey, nice pants. Do they come in men's?
It's all coming from you. Going for the Euro look, eh?
Sorry, I work out. Wait, how popular are you right now? Like everybody.
Not at all. I've just been focused on hockey. Our game against Carson, yeah. Getting pucks deep.
It took 2.5 quarters, but the top three-point shooter in the Ivy League has finally come alive from 3. Katie Benson just made her first triple of the game to match the number on her back. And all of a sudden, Harvard's within reach, trailing by 7.
Benson has to find a way to get things rolling offensively here for Harvard, and maybe she'll have a chance to do that with White on the bench. White has been all over her so far this afternoon, and White now sitting with 4 personal fouls and picking up her 4th just before the 5-minute mark here of quarter number 3.
Can Harvard grab the advantage without that elite level scorer on the floor? Some tenacious defense on this end for Georgetown throughout the day. 5 seconds to shoot. Benson faked it, then took it. Back-to-back threes for Katie Benson, and Levites is coming alive.
It's a good ball fake and a hard jab step right there by Benson, getting the separation she needed and no hesitation stepping into the triple.
Through the contact, thrown in by Morgan Smith. Back from that injury in the Big East tournament. Second time she's missed time this year due to an injury. Crimson look a lot more crisp on the offensive side of the floor. Levy fights through the contact. Benson, a near steal in the backcourt. Last touched by the Crimson. But this is a message from Kathy Delaney-Smith's squad. They will not go away. And because of the Harvard momentum, Deanna White is back in the game, playing with 4 fouls. 1 more, and she's done.
So White, who's been so aggressive driving the basketball, has to be careful here, making sure on those reads that no one's going to cut underneath and try and pick up an offensive foul. We'll see what they do with her defensively as well, whether or not they change up philosophies here. Adamaco is going to be called for the travel again. She's been checking Benson pretty much one-on-one all afternoon, so we'll see if they maybe drop back into a zone to try and hide her. Doesn't appear to be the case, though. She's standing at midcourt waiting for Benson to come across with it.
This is the first time today Georgetown is playing without some swagger. They are rattled here by this third quarter run from the Crimson. Benson getting a lot of touches. Skip pass to Raster. Cuts in, the slip. Boehm thought about it, threw it up with the left. Levy chases it down. Corner three, high arc. Big side rebound by Georgetown. Adamako trying to win the race. Harvard learning its lesson, but there's a foul, not much on it. Adamako will go to the line for a pair.
Levy's going to get caught with her hand in the cookie jar. It's a nice little jump hop move coming across, and you see right there on the arm on the way by. So Adamako, chance to go to the free throw line for 2. Try and stretch this lead back out, which has been as big as 14, but Harvard now shaving it back down to a 4-point cushion.
Gotta love that from the fifth-year senior guard. Trying to sway things back in Georgetown's favor. Boys have led throughout the game. 2:33 to go here in the third. Harvard trailed by double digits at halftime.
Now we see a switch on defense. Adamako, former Big East Defensive Player of the Year, although they're switching screens a lot now. It's White back on Benson.
Benson off that screen, knew right away it was a miss. Boehm bailed her out. Benson's had a couple misses. Didn't even catch the 10. For rhythm today, hanging in the air, and Gordon makes a play for the first time today. The rookie reserve from Santa Barbara, who had 8 points in the first round against Sacred Heart. That was a really productive game for Georgetown. It was such a blowout, 90-59, that James Howard was able to put a lot of players into the game, give them some postseason experience, and get a little bit more confidence moving forward. Sydney Skinner, speaking of elite level reserves, comes back into the game. Astor will sit for a spell, and she's got to rest up, suffering an injury earlier in this game.
Those last 2 points for Georgetown, not necessarily points in transition, obviously coming from the free throw line. It was transition that ignited those free throws, and the half-court offense here in the second half has been a struggle thus far for the Hoyas. We'll see if they can continue to try and get up and down the floor.
Levy thought about the top side three. Instead, it's Skinner from the wing. Survived the contact from Smith. And Harvard's down 4. White on the go. She's got it. She scoots better than anyone we've seen on this floor in Cambridge this year. Lightning in a bottle. Georgetown stepped on the baseline.
And it was good post defense right there by Adamako, just pulling the chair out from Levy underneath. Able to step around, maybe a little bit of contact, but you see the left foot coming down on the baseline right there. But again, good job by Adamako. Didn't win the race to the block, but did a good job with her body pulling back on the play and being able to get around and tip the basketball away. Officials getting together for a quick little conference right there.
22 to shoot here for Harvard. Redford trying to work around Boehm. Has the lane. Kick ball is called. And that stops another fast break opportunity for Georgetown. Boys have scored 13 points off turnovers today. Talked extensively in the build-up about stopping second chance points and possessions for Harvard. It's the one thing they've failed to do. Harvard has gotten a lot of clean looks at the rim from 10 feet and in. Just haven't been falling. Now looking at a lot more threes. Skinner from deep, knew it was short. Now Georgetown will just try and settle it. White playing with 4 fouls. Adamako looks at top of the lane. Hanger, no good. Levy clears it. Benson always with her eyes up the floor. Boehm setting a big target. Free throw jumper is good.
Nice job by Boehm right there. Not a moving pitch, just clearing the defense out in front though, making like she was going to cut to the basket. Defender had to respect that, dropped underneath. That gave Benson the space she needed to can the jumper from the free throw line.
Harvard trails by 4 again. Did Benson touch it? Officials say she did. Christy Mosley, Anthony Redden looking back and forth. Christy Mosley throws the thumbs up. She said, "You got a piece here, Katie." And she didn't. Eye in the sky never lies, man. Great replay from our production crew here in Cambridge. So a lucky break for Georgetown, leaking some oil down the stretch here in the third. Penson nearly picked another pocket. They finally screened her away. White, spin cycle.
What a move, just rock the baby to sleep right there. Goes hard with the right hand, the spin down the lane to create the separation. Most impressively, the finish with the left hand. She's got 27, actually has a double-double right now, 27 points to go along with 10 rebounds.
10 of 12 from the floor. If this is White's final bow, it's one James Howard won't forget anytime soon. Every inch of the rim for Barta. It's been that kind of day for Harvard. Last chance for Georgetown at the buzzer, well off. And we head to the fourth quarter. Here in round 2 of the women's NIT, Georgetown is led from the start. Can the Hoyas hold off Harvard? Find out next when we come back to Cambridge.
Because like I said, it's elimination, and if you lose, you go home. And we're not looking to end our season this weekend.
This is the best part of the year that everyone loves, March Madness, and I think we're just embracing how much we want to be here and how much we love playing the game. And so I think, our love for the game is definitely surpassing any injuries or any, bodily mishaps. It's definitely a mind over matter concept. So I think we're definitely embracing just the last, end of the season and just, trying to embrace the peak that we are at right now and really give these teams a run for the money.
We're starting with war.
We're thrilled to be here. I think this conference for women and men as well, but for women is highly competitive, and it's a dogfight every single year, and this year was probably one of the best, where it was determined in the last seconds of the last games. So, and everybody beat everybody. So I think the 4 teams that ended up here should be very proud and very excited to go at each other again, and that's exactly how we're feeling, very excited to get started.
Always exciting to have an opportunity to represent our school in postseason play and to be in this great tournament. And we're proud to be here. We're proud to be Ivy League champions again, and I'm proud of these guys being up here to represent our institution and our program.
1, 2, 3,
fight.
Georgetown senior Deanna White is now 6 points away from matching her career high. We talked earlier about the halftime records for each of these teams. Georgetown 12-2 when leading at the break. In fact, they have not trailed at any point in this game today, and more importantly, Georgetown has been very good in close games throughout the season, while Harvard is 0-6 during this run in games decided by 5 points or less. Delaney Smith told me a couple weeks back that he felt Harvard let a few too many games slip down the stretch when they lost defensive assignments, maybe a careless turnover late, close defeats at the hands of Princeton. The Tigers, of course, Ivy League champions who made it into the big dance, and Jeannie Baines making an impact right away. Quick start in the third, and she's got the first bucket in the fourth as well.
Just good look down low. Bain with great footwork. Gets enough separation with that quick little baby hook as White tries to go to work now back at the other end.
White playing with 4 fouls, and she drew one this time.
Levy called for the foul. Looks like Skinner down as well after the play. Just the body bump right there, and the awareness by White to kind of throw the body into her, initiate the contact. She'll go to the free throw line for 2 more, where she's been great so far this afternoon. 6 of 6 from the stripe, White has been.
Harvard players went falling down like dominoes there. So White goes back to the line where she's a perfect 6 for 6, now 7 for 7. 28 points to go along with those 10 boards. She's also the leading assist getter with 3. Georgetown getting out in transition, a lot of unassisted buckets.
Right up to 29 now that ties her season high, coming against St. John's back on the 24th of February.
It's got a little quiet here at Levites. Crimson fans for a glimmer of hope from their team. Benson tries to deliver, and it's not there. Her struggles continue from 3. She's just 2 of 7. White, too strong. Levy secures. The team's just feeling things out here. We start the 4th. Benson playing a little bit faster than some of her teammates. Hits off the screen. High 5 from Jeannie Bain, who set the big target in front of her. White may have walked with it, got fouled instead. Really looked like a tie-up. It's going against Madeline Raster.
White being no less aggressive right here. A lot of ball on the way by. Maybe they're calling it with the forearm in, but from where the official was calling it, they were kind of screened out on the play. So they saw the contact on the way through. Likely the reason for the foul call, but that looked like a pretty clean play there by Raster, getting hand-on basketball as White continues to be aggressive, driving the ball even with the 4 personals.
Raster a little bit slow to get off the court.
Definitely still bothered by whatever happened to her leg there in the first half, but again, you talked about it, Kevin, just such a gutty player, a gritty player, means so much to this Crimson squad, and she knows she's a senior, potentially the last time she can don that Harvard uniform and take the court here, so it's going to take pretty much an act of God to get her out of this basketball game here this afternoon.
Second leading scorer on this team. Raster has just 5 points today. Her presence is felt off ball over and over again. Bush not one to take that open 3. Georgetown trying to zone it here. Nothing but net. Just didn't go through for Benson.
Came down contact with Redford, but she was on the baseline as it happened, so that's a reason for the possession turning back over to the Hoyas here.
Who can stand tall down the stretch for Harvard and drain the big buckets? Georgetown is taking the Crimson Faithful out of this game. And White is going back to the line again. She can set a new career high at the charity stripe.
Those players you watch sometime in the basketball just seems like it's an extension of their hand. They just seem to move effortlessly and freely with the basketball in their hand, and White is one of those. We've seen her finish with both hands in transition today, as finally she misses a free throw. She had been 10 of 10 so far from the stripe this afternoon, but again, I'm more amazed with the fact she continues to play her game and be aggressive going to the basket, knowing that a charge is going to have her disqualified and have to sit for the rest, but she has not changed how she's played on either end of the floor, despite the fact she's got 4 personals.
Picked up that 4th foul of the game with 5:08 to go in the 3rd. Bush through the bump, +1.
Late rotation there by Mayfield on defense. She reaches across, and Jaden Bush is able to take the contact and finish. You see her just coming down late, that left arm across instead of going straight up. So good look and a good finish down low by Jaden Bush. He's up to 8 points in the basketball game now. Again, Bush has been a double-double machine so far this season at 12 and 13 in that opening round win against Drexel. That was her 12th double-double of the year after having only one of those as a freshman.
Brutal day for Brianna Mayfield. Sophomore center has 4 fouls, no points, no rebounds.
Sounds like my stat line from my junior year of high school.
Matt, they needed those fouls to get. And White just keeps on firing inside, playing on the edge with 4 fouls. You'll see again, 4 Forces the contact from Bush. Wanted that big slot, but drew the body contact instead. And now, 2 free throws. White can set a new career high. Twice she has scored 33 in her career. March of 2018 at DePaul. Again against Duquesne, and this is a day to remember for Deanna White. 34 points, best of her career. Benson really gave it away to White. Still 7 minutes and change to play here. Odd pace to this fourth quarter so far. A lot of stops and starts. See those trips to the line by White. Redford sliding all over the place. Boehm feeds Bush. Up against the bigger, stronger player. She draws the 2 shots.
The tough day continues here for Mayfield. Again, down low, that's going to be personal foul number 5, so she's fouled out of this basketball game. Again, that left hand and right hand coming over. Tries to say she went straight up, but you see the right arm coming across, trying to block the shot there on Bush, and that's what created the contact. So Mayfield will foul out here this afternoon in just 14 minutes. So see if that affects Georgetown down low in terms of size and trying to clog things up at the basket. And again, it's been a very choppy fourth quarter so far. No real established rhythm, and it's amazing because you look at the scoreboard and the way White has played, you feel like Georgetown's up by about a dozen. They're only up by 5, and if Bush can knock down both of these free throws here, we're right back to a 1-possession game.
Delaney Smith has said over and over again, look, I don't read much scouting reports on other teams we face. Our company line is we focus on what we do well. We have a tall team that can work it inside out, whether against a press or a zone. We believe we can push the right buttons on the day of the game to make a difference. The problem has been in games this close, 5 points or less, Harvard just can't find that accelerator down the stretch to pull into the winner's circle. They have trailed throughout the entire game today. And Mako just hung in the air. A little game of volleyball won by Boehm. He's got 6 rebounds in the game. Barta passed up the open 3, then sent it well wide the second time. And Mako, someone's got to pick her up. Hanging in the air, nice fire off the window.
Great finish. It looked like she kind of got caught in between. Didn't know she wanted to shoot or pass on the way by. She struggled from the field. That's only her second make in 11 shots. Again, a very accomplished scorer as well. Nearly 1,800 points in her Georgetown career. White's carried them for big stretches. We'll see if Adamako here down the stretch can help take some of the offensive burden off of White.
Boehm's gonna drive, hangs in the air, and wins it. 2 more for Boehm. Got to the rim first. White now. Using that forearm to clear Benson. Still playing with 4 fouls, and there's a reach against Redford. You can see she's been frustrated the last couple times down the floor.
And Redford right there, just out of position, reaching across. That one's going to get called every time the arm comes straight across the body. More importantly here, that's the 15th foul on Harvard in the quarter, so free throws coming the rest of the way here for the Hoyas.
Still 2 fouls to give for Georgetown. Adamako drains the first. Midlothian, Virginia native. A little bit of hesitation getting back into the fold earlier this season, coming back from that injury. James Howard said she found her rhythm in December. That was the pivotal point in her season. She has started all 32 games this year, averaging nearly 17 points per contest. Adamako is 2 for 11 from the floor here today. She has gotten to the line 5 times. Raster looks pretty spry, playing with that injury. How did she get that to fall? Playing the angles off the top side of the glass.
You play here for 4 years. Sometimes you know the rim's a little bit better than anybody else, and sometimes they give you a bounce. Just great separation, elevation on that shot, and then the kind kiss off the front of the rim to drop it down, get a team back within 4.
Those shots just refuse to fall at the other end of the floor back in half number 1. Harvard is down 4 again. White on the move. Too strong. Big side rebound with the shot clock winding down. Smith heads up play, but not a great shot. Benson had Bain cutting in. Not much contact there. Smith tried to buy a foul. Bain wisely kept playing. She just slid down her like a pole at a fire station. Timeout on the floor. Harvard's down a pair.
My professor is the president of the Society for the Study of Evolution and the American Genetic Association. He is respected for employing genetic tools for the study of evolutionary biology. He believes that close social bonds help the group to work better together in the lab. We work side by side to analyze the data from my field research in Australia and to study the evolution of a pathogen. We're doing the kind of science that the world expects from Harvard. I just never expected to do it over breakfast.
My concentration is folklore and mythology. It's a unique concentration here at school. Not many other schools have it, and not many people intend to study it. And essentially I study cultures and practices of history. I've just always really enjoyed old stories. Growing up, I grew up with the Percy Jackson book series, which was of course Greek mythology, and then in high school I took several English courses that really developed a passion for that kind of material, so just decided to run with it. So I'm writing a thesis about Marvel Comics' The Punisher. He is an anti-hero who is a military war veteran that comes back. His family is tragically killed in front of him, and he starts a one-man crusade against crime. I'm looking at him because his emblem, which is a skull, has kind of transcended into pop culture and society, as seen with Chris Kyle, the American Sniper, and other military and police units. I've always been a big comic book guy, and I really, really like comics, so I wanted to look at a character that I was going to have a lot of passion and interest in. And I've always had a deep respect for the armed forces, so I felt it worked perfectly for me. And I wanted to spend my 4 years here studying something I was going to actually enjoy and be passionate about.
Three straight scores for Harvard. Jeannie Bain has been a major factor inside throughout this game. Now 16 points to lead Harvard. 64-62, Georgetown's smallest lead here in the second half. And with a win today, the Crimson would advance to the round of 16 in the women's NIT for the first time in program history. Take a look at the bracket as it stands right now. A live update from down in Providence. Friars have a 19-14 lead over that Penn team that finished second in the regular season standings and split regular season title with Princeton. Turnover right into the lap of Bain. We won't know where the next round games are played until bids come in. That's right, teams actually bid to host women's NIT contests. And Georgetown is out of the mix if they win today because they're hosting the men's tournament in downtown DC. What a find over the top to Bain. Through two bodies, the up and under, no good, but she's going to the free throw line.
Despite the struggles today, Bain has not hesitated to shoot the basketball inside again. Just inventing space right there, flipping it up towards the basket. I think Jones is the one that got caught with her hand in the cookie jar coming across. And Bain continues to be a force down low as she puts in her 17th point of the afternoon. Really, for portions of the first half, helped carry the offense that was struggling here for the Crimson. She comes up just shy on that free throw right there, but her team is back to within a point. Just inside 4 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter.
She's averaging 28 minutes a game. She's already played 34 here today. a central figure in Kathy Delaney Smith's game plan. Harvard down just one. They have never led this game. Adamako missed the bunny. Bain gets rebound number 7, and Harvard can take the lead this time down. Raster to Bain. The turn. Short. Jones kept it alive into the hands of White. Benson trying to keep pace with White. She's knocked down from behind. Benson forced the turnover. Levy's free. Left it underneath. Got too deep underneath the rim. What a sequence here in Cambridge. Adamako, no. Raster. And now Benson. Everybody catch your breath. Harvard trailed by as many as 14. Raster back from the injury. Harvard leads. First time today.
The heart of Katie Raster going down in the first half, not on the floor to start the second half, and she gives the Crimson their first advantage of the afternoon as she finishes at the cup. Harvard up by 1.
Crimson fans come to their feet. A 7-0 run over the last 2:44, and Madeline Raster looking just fine on the flyby. When Georgetown needed it most, the offense has gone to sleep. 3 minutes without a bucket now. 0 for 4, and that hyper-aggressive rim attack by the Hoyas that drew so many fouls early on has been figured out by Harvard, and James Howard has gone to the whiteboard to try and figure out what he can do to get better looks when the Hoyas get within reach of the rim.
Somebody else on Georgetown without number 11 on the back of their shirt and white across the back of it as well needs to find a way to put the ball into the basket. Mentioned Adamako. She came in averaging just under 17 points per game, and she struggled so far this afternoon. Has 9, just 2 of 13 overall from the field. And Kovachikova, who was great in the first half, particularly in the first quarter, had 12 points, but has been quiet since then, has not scored since that time.
Georgetown missing some height now. Brianna Mayfield at 6'5", fouled out. 6'1" freshman center Shania Wright out for the season with an injury. Kayla Benson unavailable today. She's missed the entire WNIT so far with an injury. Harvard playing with the lead for the first time all afternoon. Raster slithers around Bain. Off the side iron. Look at Raster follow it and win another possession back. Exactly what James Howard knew his team couldn't afford. Offensive rebound number 13 for Harvard, but then an offensive foul.
I'm going to say Bain cleared out with the left arm. Don't know if we get a chance to take another peek, and we will right here. And just, I guess it's that grasp right there with the left coming around the backside is what they're going to call. Possession comes back now to the Hoyas inside 2 minutes. Ball in the hands of White. They look to try and get the lead back.
White lost track of it and then hit it on the backside of her arm out of bounds.
Tried to go into that spin move. It was Redford up top. Switching over on the defense, she guesses right, and White just loses the basketball on the way out. Have not seen a lot of that out of her so far this afternoon, but potentially a costly turnover right there.
And playing with 4 fouls, she keeps getting that off arm extended. She's getting dangerously close to a push-off in foul number 5. That would disqualify her from the game. Levy, long 2. That would have brought the roof down here at Levites. So often she gets lost by the defense at the top of the lane, and now James Howard's going to take a timeout. Still 3 stoppages available for Kathy Delaney Smith. She may have the coaching advantage down the stretch to script her offense and figure out how Harvard can maintain this late run. 7-0 over the last 4 minutes. And we mentioned earlier, Harvard 0-6 this year in games settled by 5 points or less. Could this finally be the time in the postseason where they get over the hump and win a close contest?
Not just that, but we also highlighted it coming out of the first half. 0-11 when trailing at halftime, and they were down by 10 coming out of the halfway mark. So really just grit and battling here in the second half, able to find a way to manufacture some offense. It's been Bain down low that's really gotten things going for them. She's been key this afternoon. Leads the Crimson with 17 points and 7 rebounds so far. And good stick to it in this year for Harvard this afternoon. Just again, getting gritty on the defensive end, forcing turnovers. And for Georgetown right now, the offense is really bogged down. The offense has been Deanna White. So far, somebody else has to step up here for the Hoyas down the stretch if they're going to take away a win.
First ever meeting between these two schools in women's basketball. In fact, Georgetown has played every Ivy League opponent except the Crimson. 17-4 all time against teams from the Ancient Eight, but the Crimson have the lead by 1. This is their largest lead of the day. They trailed for 3.5 quarters of this game. All that matters is the score when the clock hits zeros. Georgetown has missed 5 shots in a row, and more importantly, they've turned it over 3 times in the last 4.5 minutes. Jones for 3. Offensive rebound in crunch time by Kaleva, and Raster snagged the pass. Time to burn now for the Crimson. 1 minute left. Benson. Ball poked free, she'll keep it. Don't forget that corner pocket triple by Katie Benson that really kicked off this run. And Kathy Delaney-Smith is going to take one of her last 3 timeouts. James Howard is out of stoppages on the other end of the floor.
It's exactly what you talked about, having a chance to script your offense down the stretch right now. So if you're Kathy Delaney-Smith, see what you can draw up after timeout option right here. They've had some good actions on some out-of-bounds plays after some breaks here. So see if they can maybe get Benson rolling off something on the way to the basket, or maybe looking down low to Bame and see if she can finish at the rim. So all kinds of options right now here for Harvard as they try to add to their lead here inside the final minute.
Georgetown needs a defensive stand this time down, and perhaps they can fall back on motivational speech they got on the bus earlier today from NBA player Greg Monroe, one of the best bigs in Georgetown history. Had a lot of success in Detroit with the Pistons. He's now on a 2-week contract with the Boston Celtics. He met up with the Hoyas today. Something to think about coming into this game. Excitement for the Hoyas. They have such a tremendous alumni base, not just in the WNBA, but in the NBA as well. Of course, one of the all-time greats, Patrick Ewing, now coaching the men's team. They were eliminated by Harvard in the men's NIT earlier this week, so Harvard has a chance to sweep the National Invitation Tournament against the Hoyas. Hand off to Raster. Swings it through. Levy backing down her mark. Raster slipped it inside. Levy missed from inside the short arc. White playing with 4 fouls on the go through traffic. She's got it. Georgetown leads 66-65. White nearly strips it, but knocked it out of bounds instead.
Deanna White does not want to go home after today. She wants to keep playing. Just the grit right there to not only get that shot in transition, but nearly picking off the inbounds pass. Officials getting together and talking right now. Don't know, maybe a clock issue that they're talking about?
Video review is an option now in the closing minutes of regulation. And it looks like Anthony Redden will go to the scores table. Make sure everything is lined up just right. First made bucket in 7 shots for Georgetown. Harvard has gone 2 minutes and 15 seconds now without a bucket of its own. Both teams trying to navigate across the finish, and we'll get an official's timeout here for the video review. Now, Matt, I'll say this play happened just in front of our broadcast position, and it looked pretty clear that the ball was knocked out of bounds by White. So perhaps it is just a timing issue to figure out how much will remain in this women's NIT second round contest.
White definitely got her hand on it before it rolled and went out of bounds, as you were saying right there, Kevin. So maybe again, just looking to put some more time on the clock and make sure that they have it correctly. 6 points so far this afternoon to go along with 12 rebounds. Every time Georgetown has needed a bucket, every time they've needed a big play, Deanna White has found a way to come up with it for the Hoyas here this afternoon. No surprise when, again, you look at her career accolades, 2 times first team All-Big East over the course of the last 2 seasons, the second team All-Big East in her first 2 years for the Hoyas as well, just continuing to pile them up. Again, the second player in program history, over 2,000 points scored, and a fantastic effort against Sacred Heart in the opening win, 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. Let's take a look at it right here, and again, you can see clearly off the hands of White. I think if you look at the clock in the corner, though, when the official puts their hand up, it's around 32 seconds, so maybe adding a couple tenths back on. I have to imagine that's what they're looking at, because layup goes in for White. You can see right there, she gets her hands on it and knocks it out of bounds. Maybe about a full second. Gonna have to imagine that's what they're taking a peek at right now to figure out when the ball goes out and what time to put back on. 31-8 is what we have on the game clock. Of course, you can see that on the scoreboard right on the bottom.
You know, in addition to being the second all-time leading scorer for Georgetown, she is the all-time steals leader for this program. Another mark set by Sugar Rogers, WNBA All-Star. Boy, she had picked up a steal here. That may have been game-winning moment for Georgetown. They led by as many as 14 in the second quarter. Slowly but surely, though, after a frustrating first half, Harvard started chipping away in the third. I immediately think to Jeannie Bain. She came out at halftime, just 3 of 10 from the floor, and she looked into some friends at the stands and threw up double thumbs up, missed a couple shots in the warm-up, turned to them again, threw some thumbs up, and you know what? She hit her first 2 shots in real time. Give Harvard some belief, and she has logged a ton of minutes inside. So 31.8 to play. Harvard has the possession, trailing by 1. Winner go home in round 2 of the women's NIT. Raster pulls up, deflected, and into the hands of the Hoyas. Raster frustratingly applies the foul on Brianna Jones. The clock stops with 16.2 to play.
I believe that's the 5th on Raster as well. Just loses it trying to go up for the shot right there, and then having to know the situation, has to commit the foul to stop the clock with her team trailing. And unfortunately for her, that's her 5th personal. She's now fouled out of this basketball game.
An emotional day for Madeline Raster. Could this be the last time she suits up in a Harvard uniform? Battled back from an injury earlier in this game. Raster will sit, scoring 9 points today, 4 of 9 shooting. And big free throws coming here for Brianna Jones. Just 4 for 10 this year at the line, and she drained the first. Big moment for the senior guard. Louisville transfer. Makes them both. And the second was a dead eye right through the middle of the twine.
Just absolute nails from the free throw line. Sometimes seniors able to find that little bit of extra magic towards the end of the season when you want to, obviously see your career come to an end. And right there, steps up, no hesitation, not even a deep sigh or a deep breath, just walks up like it's something she's done hundreds if not thousands of times before. No hesitation at the free throw line, just steps right in. And as you said, the second one just dead on right down the middle, giving your team a 3-point cushion here. Still a lot of time on the clock, so if you're Harvard, you've got a chance here maybe to go for a quick 2 and play the foul game, because you still have a timeout in your pocket. So no need to try and force a 3 unless it's the best look you're able to get, but still plenty of time for Harvard to generate some quick offense. Try and see if they can pick up a turnover or commit a foul and see if Georgetown can make the bunnies at the other end.
Hoya shoots 70% from the line as a team. Harvard has gone to double OT twice here at home this year. They need a 3 to force some overtime. Bends in, blocked. White got up high. Jones grabbed the loose ball. White gets fouled, and could that be game? The story of this contest down the stretch, Deanna White playing with 4 fouls since 5:08 to go in the third. She blocks the best 3-point shooter in the Ivy League, and now she has a chance to potentially ice it at the line.
No fear in the game of Deanna White. No, she's got the 4 fouls, but still flies on the closeout and blocks the shot from Benson, and then continues to be nails from the free throw line. She is 14-15 overall from the stripe today.
Career high 38 points And is that enough to keep her final season going? A 6-0 run over the last 25 seconds for Georgetown. And Harvard has gone 2 minutes and 39 seconds without a bucket. That close game stat rearing its ugly head again.
You said earlier, it's been a choppy fourth quarter, and it's been a fourth quarter of runs for both teams. It seems like Harvard got into a rhythm for a while, getting themselves that 65-64 lead, but the offense drying up a little bit after that. And Georgetown, who's it been again? It's been White, being aggressive, taking the ball to the basket. We're seeing her continuing to be aggressive on defense again. That block right there against Benson, just flying out across the three-point line and not allowing Benson to get the clean look, then getting the basketball back and knocking down her free throws. Deanna White has been absolutely money in this game for Georgetown.
Saw Mike Rue in the huddle, drawing up a play for the Crimson. See what they come up with. 8.4 to go. Benson has to get it up quick through the contact. It's short. Flip pass to Boehm. Clock winding down, and the game is over. Georgetown rides the wave late. A 14-point lead lost, but it goes in the books as a 70-65 victory for the Hoyas in a first ever meeting between Harvard and Georgetown in women's basketball, and the Hoyas advance to the round of 16 in the Women's National Invitation Tournament. We promised you before this game that Deanna White would be the player to watch for Georgetown, and she delivered nothing short of heroics. Leader in the three key stats for James Howard's team: 38 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 assists on this day. It was 11 days between the end of the Big East tournament and the women's NIT for Georgetown. The Hoyas stayed fresh, and they will continue on chasing a postseason title. So the home season comes to an end for Harvard. A last tribute from the Crimson faithful. We've got our own Matt Corsetti standing courtside with our player of the game. It's Deanna White.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Joined by Deanna White right now. A new career high for you, 38 points this afternoon. What worked for you able to get your offense going so far today?
Just getting to the basket, being aggressive. My speed really helps. And just my teammates having confidence in me.
You talked about being aggressive. You had 4 fouls halfway through the third quarter in this basketball game. You came back in just a couple of minutes later. It didn't seem like you changed how you played either offensively or defensively. Do you just know one way to play basketball, and that's going all out?
Yeah, pretty much. I had to lay back a bit on the steals and just going for the passes. I think 2 of them in the fourth quarter I tried to get, but my coaches told me not to. Everybody kept reminding me to stay calm. So.
Take us through as well, right there at the end, Katie Benson, one of the best three-point shooters for Harvard, one of the best three-point shooters in the Ivy League, has a chance to try and knock down a 3 right there at the end, and you come flying through, able to block the shot, then get the ball and knock down some free throws at the end. Can you take us through that final play right there, making that block, what you saw and what allowed you to come through and harass that shot and knock it away?
In the huddle, we talked about not giving up a 3. That was our main focus. We was trying to switch everything. She had a good look. I knew she was a good shooter, so I just had to close out and contest, make the shot hard, and I just ended up blocking it.
And as a senior, how much do these games mean for you, knowing that this is going to be able to continue on at least for one more game and hopefully for more?
It means a lot. Every game, me, Dorothy, and Michaela, she was playing, we try to play our hardest because we never know if this is going to be our last game. So just having that mindset coming in.
Well, congratulations, and best of luck to you in the next round.
Thank you.
Deanna White, new career high, 38 points this afternoon here against Harvard, her team with a 70-65 win.
All right, great job, Matt. Georgetown continues on in the women's NIT. The Hoyas will await the winner of Penn and Providence in a round of 16 game next week. So for my broadcast partner, Matt Corsetti, I'm Kevin Gale saying so long from Levites Pavilion, where the final score reads Georgetown 70, Harvard 65. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Good night from Harvard.